I booted Witcher 3 again last week, and I planned to play for half an hour before dinner, and then 4 hours later, my tea was cold, my phone had died, and I realized that every other open world game on my SSD suddenly felt plastic. One evening with The Witcher 3, 10 years old by the way, and suddenly every modern RPG I own feels like a glossy checklist that was designed by an algorithm on a coffee break. And this isn't about graphics or combat. It was a fundamental difference in how the world presented itself, how it engaged me, and how it made me feel. I just couldn't help but notice something profound. And I know that sounds dramatic, but stick with me, I'm not here to gush. I'm here to figure out why CD Projekt Red's aging Monster Slayer still slices deeper than anything released ever since. We'll talk about the living world, the quests that treat you like a grown-up, and the tiny constant surprises that make you forget you're playing a game. And yes, we'll look at what today's blockbusters keep getting wrong and why they often miss the mark despite their grand ambitions. Most current open worlds are pretty dioramas, gorgeous skyboxes, samey activities, waiting for your arrival to truly begin. Load into Velen though, and the first thing you notice is not the distant vista, but the mud. It squishes, it sticks, it cakes on Geralt's armor. It's a tangible presence underfoot. A storm rolls in, peasants dash indoors, torches gutter, wolves howl closer to the road, not because you are there, but because that's what happens. Not because you are there, but because that's what happens. No NPC stands around waiting for you. They chop wood, they gossip, they flee when ghouls wander too close. They have routines, fears, and even small internal dramas that unfold regardless of your intervention. Compare that to the latest map-gemmed epic. Compare that to the latest map-gemmed epic whose name rhymes with boulders, sky, beautiful planets, sure. But every hamlet resets the moment you leave. Bandits politely mill until you arrive, only to spring to life when your presence is detected. In The Witcher 3, the world persists. Kill a griffin harassing a herd, and 2 days later you'll overhear a farmer bragging his cattle finally graze in peace. These micro consequences are not scripted hero moments or predetermined moral choices. No, they're systemic respect for cause and effect, and they trick your brain into genuinely believing that the continent doesn't revolve around you. Yes, it's an illusion, of course, but it's a powerful, comforting one. It's one that makes you feel like a participant and not the sole protagonist. Next-gen updates add instant herb looting and seamless sign casting, but those are conveniences, quality of life improvements. The soul was already there. The grime, the folklore, the way wind kicks up spores near a swamp. It all conspires to make exploration feel like tourism rather than box ticking. It's an invitation to immerse yourself. Modern RPGs hand you a mount and a mountain of map icons. Witcher 3 hands you a local rumor and lets you stumble onto a whole war crime, a forgotten tragedy, or a monster with a surprisingly human tale. It doesn't promise endless content, but a deeper, more meaningful engagement with what's already there. I timed it. The average collect 10 wolf hearts in a contemporary RPG takes 6 minutes, rewards vendor trash, and tells you nothing about the world, nothing about yourself. It's busy work, a means to an end. The Witcher 3's contracts average 45 and read like novellas, each a self-contained mystery. Take the mystery of the Byways murders. Starts as a simple monster job, dismembered corpses, villagers pointing fingers. You investigate claw prints, interview survivors, discover the killer's a higher vampire staging the scenes to protect his human lover from her abusive father. You can walk away with coin, or you can choose to expose the vampire, resulting in the father's arrest and the lover's heartbreak. No paragon points, no flashing morality meter, just a quiet note in your journal that you fundamentally altered 2 digital lives. The game trusts you to grasp the weight of your decisions. Even treasure hunts teach lore, weaving narrative into the very fabric of discovery. A diagram for enhanced feline armor is hidden in a sunken boat beneath a smashed lighthouse. A diary on board recounts the smugglers' last night before a royal fleet caught them. By the time you craft the armor, you've lived their final moments in your head.
So slipping it on feels like inheriting a legacy, not equipping a stat stick. It's not just an item, it's a story, a fragment of the world's history you've personally unearthed. Modern games outsource storytelling to collectible codex entries, to lore dumps in menus that break immersion. Witcher 3 hides narrative in the very act of play. You're never the FedEx guy, you're the detective, the jury, sometimes the executioner. That emotional labor lingers. You remember the outcomes, because you authored them, because you wrestled with the ambiguity, not because a UI reminded you to care. It's a testament to how deeply the game respects the player's intelligence and capacity for empathy. Name one NPC from a recent Ubisoft open world you recall after a month. I'll wait. Now say Bloody Baron and watch any Witcher veteran flinch. The Baron isn't a quest dispenser. He's a charismatic, wife-beating mess, whose arc can end a dozen ways. His fate intertwines with the main plot. Side quests, even the orphanage in Novigrad. Characters in The Witcher 3 have roots. Pull one and half the garden shifts. They exist within a complex web, and their removal or alteration sends ripples through the world.
Yennefer isn't your sassy sidekick. She's a centuries-old sorceress who'll teleport a ship to win an argument yet freeze when her adoptive daughter calls her out for emotional distance. These people possess layers because the game lets them contradict themselves, lets them be flawed and magnificent all at once. Modern RPG companions often serve player fantasy, designed to be agreeable or archetypal. Witcher characters pursue their own agendas, occasionally leaving you stranded for narrative beats. That friction humanizes them far more than 50 loyalty missions ever could, because it makes them feel like real people with their own motivations, not just extensions of your will. It's a bold choice, and one that pays off immensely in emotional resonance.
CD Projekt's ace in the hole is Restraint. You can't craft 300 swords, you craft 5. Each namesake, each visually distinct, each with a story. You prepare for fights by reading, not grinding. Brew a Spectre oil because the diary mentioned a night wraith, and suddenly combat becomes a homework reward system where knowledge is as potent as steel. It's a system that values preparation and observation over brute force or endless repetition. The next-gen patch added quick sign casting, instant herb looting, and toggles for fall damage. Streamlined, yes, but still measured, still focused on enhancing the existing depth. Meanwhile, current titles bury you under crafting tiers, season passes, daily login bonuses, busy work masquerading as depth. It's a comforting lie, promising endless engagement, but often delivering only superficiality. Witcher 3 proves complexity and bloat aren't synonyms. One well-judged system, like the alchemy or monster research, beats 5 tacked-on grinds that serve only to inflate playtime. It trusts the player to engage with its systems meaningfully, rather than just endlessly clicking through menus. I love Starfield and Baldur's Gate 3 for different reasons, yet neither scratches the itch The Witcher 3 left. Starfield's planets feel like loot, corridors where faction stories politely pause until you arrive, waiting for the player to initiate the fun. Baldur's Gate offers unparalleled player agency, but its turn-based pacing and tabletop roots create a different cadence. You're never surprised by emergent narrative because every outcome is a die roll you witness. Witcher 3 occupies a sweet spot between authored storytelling and systemic reactivity, where the world feels like it's reacting to you, rather than just waiting for your input. The industry is chasing scale, not density. Executives see 100-hour campaign on a pitch dock and salivate, believing bigger must inherently be better, but bigger often means shallower. A vast ocean of an inch deep, Velen is roughly 20 square kilometers. Night City is triple that yet half as memorable. One prioritizes handcrafted quests, nuanced characters, and environmental storytelling. The other often prioritizes skyscrapers you can't enter and vistas that lack substance. Turns out players don't remember square footage. They remember the moment a game treated them like adults and let them fail, let them make a choice with real, unquantifiable consequences. They remember the feeling of a world that existed before them and will continue after them. Here's the brutal truth. Witcher 3 sets expectations that cripple enjoyment elsewhere. I booted a 2023 AAA release praised for its dynamic world, rode 2 minutes, saw a bandit camp respawn, turned it off. The industry trained us to treat that as normal, as acceptable. Witcher 3 reminds you, it doesn't have to be. It's like Gwen, who burned himself to keep his age alive, even though it was already rotting underneath the surface. Many modern games cling to superficiality, fearing what might happen if they dared to be different. That's not nostalgia talking. The game keeps getting official updates and community mods folded into canon. Ray-traced global illumination, new quest items, even toggle options cribbed from fan patches. It's a 10-year-old title that refuses to ossify, that actively incorporates improvements to maintain its relevance. Compare that to the annual franchise that needs a day-one patch to fix trousers clipping through cutscenes. The developers of Witcher 3 continue to refine it, not just for profit, but seemingly out of genuine respect for the game and its players. So yes, The Witcher 3 has ruined modern RPGs for me, and probably for you if you've tasted its particular brand of storytelling alchemy. It's the bar that reminds us how low the limbo pole has fallen, how much we've been conditioned to accept. But it's also a blueprint hiding in plain sight. Make worlds that breathe, write quests that sting, and trust players to give a damn without a flashing waypoint. Trust them to find their own meaning. Next time you feel that open world fatigue creeping in, that sense of an illusion that demands endless suffering just to maintain, reload White Orchard, watch the wind ripple through the rye, eavesdrop on villagers arguing about grain tariffs, accept one seemingly simple contract, then try to go back to a checklist. I dare you.
I truly dare you. Guys, I'm trying to make it as a full-time YouTuber, and these videos take a lot to make. So if you enjoy the videos, please consider subscribing. It truly means a lot, and it makes a big difference. Thank you for watching.